True success is not an accident, nor is it a product of luck or sudden opportunity. It is the result of countless hours of disciplined effort, often done without recognition, without applause, and without the comfort of knowing who, if anyone, it is paying attention. It is built in moments so quiet that they are almost invisible to the world. This is why consistent, disciplined work is so powerful. It shapes you when no one else is there to influence your motives. When you work in silence, you are driven not by the need for validation, but by the desire to fulfill your purpose and reach your own standards of excellence. In today's age, many people are tempted to broadcast their every move. They want others to know they are working, struggling, or striving. They share the journey before the destination is reached. But when you constantly seek approval during the process, you risk losing the purity of your intention. You start working not for the work itself, but for the response you hope it will generate. This subtle shift can destroy your focus and drain your energy. The moment your motivation depends on likes, applause, or quick recognition, it becomes fragile. But when your motivation comes from within, when you can put in the work without anyone clapping for you, it becomes unshakable. Think of the greatest athletes, artists, inventors, and leaders throughout history. The world saw their victories, their breakthroughs, and their moments in the spotlight. But what it didn't see were the early mornings, the endless practice sessions, the sleepless nights spent thinking, creating, or perfecting their craft. They understood that the loudest proof of dedication is not what you say, but what you consistently do. They did not need to tell the world about their effort because the results spoke for them. And those results were only possible because they worked with unwavering focus behind closed doors when there was no applause to chase. Working in silence forces you to develop self-reliance. You cannot depend on constant encouragement from others to keep going. You must learn to encourage yourself. This builds inner strength and resilience. It also teaches you patience, because silent work is often slow work. You cannot rush growth. You must commit to the process day after day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. But progress is often invisible until one day it is undeniable. The tree does not grow overnight. The mountain is not climbed in a single step. But those who stay the course quietly and persistently eventually stand on ground that others can only dream of reaching. There is also an element of wisdom in working quietly. When you speak too much about your goals before you achieve them, you invite distractions, opinions, and criticism that can weaken your resolve. Not everyone will understand your vision, and some may even discourage you, not out of malice, but because they cannot see what you see. Silence protects your vision. It gives you the space to work without interference, to refine your ideas before they are exposed to the world. By the time you present your results, they are strong enough to withstand scrutiny, and you are confident enough to stand by them. Furthermore, silent work helps you develop humility. When you are not constantly seeking recognition, you learn to value the work for its own sake. You begin to appreciate the process instead of chasing the spotlight. This humility not only earns respect from others, it keeps you grounded when success finally arrives. It prevents arrogance from destroying what you have built. because you know the effort it took to get there. You know the long hours, the private sacrifices, the moments of doubt that no one else will ever see. True success is also deeply connected to character. Anyone can put on a performance when they know others are watching, but working in silence reveals your real values. It shows whether you are committed when there is no one to impress, no one to praise you, and no one to reward you immediately. This is where discipline is tested and strengthened. It is easy to work hard when you are motivated, but it takes real commitment to work hard when you feel tired, uninspired, or uncertain about the outcome. When you choose consistent, quiet effort over quick validation, you are building something far more valuable than temporary attention. You are building mastery. You are sharpening your skills to the point where they cannot be ignored. The world may overlook you at first, but when your work reaches its full potential, it will speak so loudly that no one can deny it. And by then, you will not need to convince anyone of your worth. They will see it for themselves. In the end, working hard in silence is about trusting the process. It is about believing that the hours you invest, the sacrifices you make, and the energy you pour into your goals will all be worth it, even if no one notices right away. True success takes time, and the only way to reach it is through steady, disciplined effort that does not depend on the noise of the crowd. The applause will come, if it comes at all, when the work is done, and when it does, you will know that it was your quiet persistence, not empty words, that brought you there. Letting your achievements speak louder than your words is one of the most powerful principles you can live by. Words can inspire, persuade, or even impress for a moment, but actions leave a lasting mark. You can tell people what you are going to do, or you can quietly focus on doing it. And when the results appear, they will say more than any speech ever could. The world is filled with voices making promises, declarations, and bold claims. But promises are easy to make. Delivering on them is what separates those who talk from those who truly achieve. When you commit to working in a way that allows your results to do the talking, you earn respect in a way that is impossible to fake. People may doubt your words, but they cannot deny what they see. They may question your ability, but they cannot argue with your results. Results are solid proof. They require no explanation, no defense. And when those results are born from consistent effort, they carry with them the weight of credibility and integrity. Living by this principle also protects your reputation. In a world where many people oversell themselves, those who simply deliver without boasting stand out. They do not need to exaggerate or build themselves up because their work naturally builds their reputation for them. This is why silent perseverance is so valuable. It creates a quiet momentum that, over time, becomes impossible to ignore. By the time people notice, your foundation is already strong, your achievements undeniable, and your name associated with excellence. Letting your work speak for you is also a form of discipline. It requires patience to hold back from announcing every step of your progress. It demands humility to resist the urge to prove yourself through words. Instead of chasing immediate recognition, you channel that energy into improvement. You focus on becoming so good at what you do that recognition becomes inevitable. This is the kind of discipline that builds mastery. When your craft is polished to the point that it consistently delivers high-quality results, people will naturally trust and respect you without needing to be convinced. Consider the people who inspire you most, whether they are innovators, leaders, artists, or athletes. Chances are, their influence did not come from telling the world how great they were. It came from showing it. They achieved things so remarkable that people could not help but notice. Their work inspired confidence not because they demanded it, but because they earned it. And the same principle applies in everyday life. If you consistently show up, give your best, and produce meaningful results, others will come to respect you without you ever having to ask for it. This principle also strengthens your character. When you depend less on the approval of others, you build a kind of inner freedom. You no longer need the validation of applause to keep going because your sense of worth is rooted in the quality of your work. You can take pride in your achievements, not because you shouted them from the rooftops, but because you know what it took to make them real. This quiet confidence is more stable than any external recognition. It cannot be taken away by criticism or diminished by comparison. There is also a practical advantage to letting your achievements speak. It keeps you focused. Words can be a distraction. Talking too much about your goals can create a false sense of accomplishment, as if announcing them is the same as achieving them. But in reality, the more time and energy you spend talking, the less you have for doing. By keeping your head down and your focus sharp, you avoid wasting effort on trying to convince others, and you direct all your energy into making progress. Over time, this focused effort compounds into results that are far greater than what words alone could have achieved. Another benefit is that it draws the right kind of attention. When your achievements are the focus, rather than your promises, you attract people who value results over empty talk. These are the people who can help you grow. Mentors, collaborators, and supporters who recognize the real substance behind your work. They are not drawn by flashy claims. They are drawn by proven capability. And that kind of network is far more valuable than one built on superficial admiration. Finally, letting your work speak louder than your words ensures that when recognition does come, it is genuine. There is a certain power in surprising people with what you have accomplished. The moment when they realize just how much you have done, without asking for attention, creates a deep and lasting respect. It turns you into someone whose presence carries quiet authority, because people know that if you choose to act, you will deliver. You don't need to promise, you prove. You don't need to declare, you demonstrate. In the end, silent perseverance and results-driven living are about integrity. They are about aligning your energy, focus, and values with the things you want to achieve and letting the finished product speak on your behalf. When you choose this path, you will not need to argue for your place because your work will secure it for you. And that kind of respect, the respect that comes from proven achievement, is the kind that lasts. It is the respect that builds unshakable character and leaves a legacy far beyond words. And so, ladies and gentlemen, remember this: the world is filled with noise, but it is the quiet worker, the one who stays committed long after the excitement fades, who leaves the deepest mark. Do not waste your strength trying to convince others of your worth. Invest it in becoming the kind of person whose work makes the statement for you. Let your discipline be your language, your perseverance be your voice, and your results be your signature. When the time comes, you will not need to announce your arrival. Your achievements will walk into the room before you do. Work hard in silence. Let your success speak, and you will build not only accomplishments, but a reputation that no one can take away.